Ready? I'd like to call this meeting of the Facilities Committee to order. We do have Fred Fry sitting in for temporarily for one committee member, since the new committees haven't been assigned yet. And therefore, first thing is the roll call. So we have 3 board members. Motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
So second.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. Next is public comments. I haven't seen any. So we have no public comments, and I'll move us right into John with the capital project list.
Okay, thanks, guys. So since the last time we met at facility committee, I've marked some cells in yellow that I'm proposing to change in regards to some things that we are validating on pricing, some movement of different projects and tasks that came through that would be best fit for us this year. So we can jump right into the first yellow cell, which is increasing the Arboretum water heater amount. The scope of that project changed, going to 2 smaller size water heaters for redundancy. So the fund adjustment, you see the first is the 12,000 increase. That's how that's read. And then the total is the 27,000 versus 15 originally requested. So without going through each of these cells, I can hit the highlighted ones. The snow tractor for Arboretum. We added accessories. Again, that was kind of an initial base scope on the cost for that. So adding accessories and actually tractor size increased that to 26.2. Radon mitigation, we received our reports back for both Arboretum and Prairie that said that no mitigation is needed at those buildings, so reduced by 25,000 there. We're anticipating potential, we wanted to account for potential mitigation, but none is required. Press box, we are changing carpet up in the press box at Warrior. I think there's some donation of labor included with that from our contractor. We're scoping a generator here for this building. Price, actually, I received some more pricing today. It solidifies, it's going to be 75 to 80. I have a price for the generator itself and the electrical itself. I don't have pricing for the concrete pad and landscape refinishing, so I'm anticipating 80 to 85 for that complete project.
So what's this generator you get?
It's 125 kW.
Diesel?
I don't have it with me, but I think it was a diesel versus propane.
And that powers the entire building? Or what's
Yes.
your?
Yeah.
Wow.
We have two options. One that would provide 2 automatic transfer switches. I think it's just too much to be able to coordinate the electrical and control between 2 ATS. So I think I prefer to do 1 automatic transfer just for the entire building. Any questions on any of those items so far? The parking lot repair, the original 32 was to try and band-aid the parking lot. At this point, we did receive a better quote, and it's going to be 130 to 160,000 to repave the entire parking lot. So 32 really doesn't buy us much. I don't think it's worth throwing 32 even into the parking lot as it stands today. Besides some hot patching and things to remove some safety obstacles.
That one, you're just moving forward into a subsequent year to be totally replaced.
Correct. All right. Like I said, probably have to do some hot patching in this summer.
When do you plan on moving it forward next year?
I think that's what you have is 22, 23.
Yeah, correct on the last column there. We have some district-wide playground crack fill. We reduced that a little bit after some prices have come in. Kitchen equipment. I've been working with ASU and CRM, our kitchen equipment contractor, for the items with our preventive maintenance program there. I think it's actually gonna be less than the 9,000 reduction. It's still in the works with Taka. Our middle school tractor was also under scoped initially, so that's at 42. We want to do some carpet at Prairie for 21. Carpet at the high school for 1,500, so that's a small one. Carpet at the middle school. We did not have a quote on that at our previous facility committee meeting, so that came in at 22. The science room is there. If you guys have questions on the science room, we'll talk about that or how that fits in.
Where's the science room?
That is.
Row 27.
We talked about that at the last meeting where we were gonna do some of the remodel to make it more of an effective science room rather than a general classroom.
Correct.
It's makeshift today.
So we added cabinetry and finish work to that. That increased the price.
Yeah.
Okay, and then pool, we just allocated, we will have pool maintenance, we always do.
So your dollar amount hasn't changed. You just reallocated dollars amongst the 525 within there.
That's correct.
So the yellow articulates what those changes are.
Yeah, some of the items, Randy, we were hoping to have with the carryover funds. I'm not sure how that went with the previous meeting here, but I kept it on this list regardless.
All right.
You want a motion for recommendation to the board then?
Yeah.
Is there anyone who'd like to make such a motion?
Recommend that we move this to the board for final approval.
A second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And that carries through. And that takes us to the 2 energy conservation projects.
2021 report for energy conservation shows where we're at today. We're moving forward with Westfall to change out hallway and restroom fixtures to LED energy savings fixtures. What we're gonna do is, it's such a big building, guys, we're gonna take that in pieces. Really, we're starting the project now. We're gonna continue with the project with a separate phase of it for 21-22, hopefully. You'll see on the next PDF. So the current page is just showing where we're at today.
Hey, I'll go back and grab the proposal for next year, John. Just give me a moment. Okay, John, if you just want to review the proposal for 21-22, please. There we go.
So really, again, just to carry, moving forward with the current project, continuing the project to replace hallway and restroom fixtures in the older section of the high school library, and a potential small conference room, restrooms project for here at Bethel. That would consume the original allocated amount as well for 21-22. I have cut sheets if you guys, I think there are maybe cut sheets included actually with your board book packet.
Any questions? Otherwise, this was it's saying original funds requested, so this doesn't require approval? Or do we need a motion to?
You looking for an approval on this, Steve?
Yeah, we'd be requesting approval. It's within the existing budget that the board has approved for energy conservation. But we would just be looking for the committee's recommendation and approval of proceeding with spending the funds in this particular manner on these projects that John has outlined here. But there's no additional funding. It's just these projects fit within the current funding.
Okay. Is there a motion?
You have a question, so you get phase 2, and then you get phase 3. Does phase 3 complete the high school then?
It definitely will not complete the high school. I think just as part of this, what we have had initially scoped by the electrician, that can be a phase 3 at the library. So there will be more LED conversions at the high school as we move into the future.
So if you estimate, does this put us at 10%, 20%?
I would say if I were to have a guess, 60%. Is that much?
If you're just talking hallways. We haven't
Yeah,
touched
this is my
classrooms.
classroom, sorry. This is common areas where the lights stay on most often during the day and at night. So.
Or adding accents to areas that are also common areas to take advantage of when there is no.
Classrooms are big, so this would be probably 10 to 20% of the building.
Mhm.
And those, I gotta say, I've played a lot with this a lot.
Mhm.
Looking at the power savings number, that looks about right, but the payback from power and maintenance, where it's dropping to practically a quarter, that seems really steep. Do you get these numbers from the contractor or?
Yes.
Huh. Okay.
I'm not sure if they're taking into account ballast replacements. You know, it has to-
Yeah, there's got to be a heavy equipment number. in there. All right. Any other questions? All those in, oh, we need a motion for a recommendation.
Go for it.
I make a motion to recommend this for approval.
Is there a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? So next is item 7, cleaning cost analysis.
Thank you, Dave. So today, we brought our cleaning partner Hilliard with us. Mark and Bill are in the back of the room. In case you guys have any questions or want clarification on any of these items. But really what this chart is showing you, to cut to the chase, the bottom right cell says 10.65. Those are the positions, the full-time positions that I'm requesting currently open is 7.5. So we have 7.5 current positions available that we can hire for according to HR. Now, you may say, well, what's Hilliard done for us? This number's increased. Well, the CAP program, I left you this glossy pamphlet. So Steve, I have this glossy for you. I can email it to you.
Okay.
It's really just a marketing material for their program, which they provide us for free as a partner. So Hilliard's come through and help us understand that if we move to certain types of equipment that create efficiencies for custodians, we can use less labor effort. So what's really cool about this is the daily recommended FTE column. It says 4371 at the bottom. Hilliard's analysis has shown that we should have 43.71 custodial staff. We currently have 32. If you add the 7 positions that we have through HR, that's, if my math is okay, there's about 40 positions.
Well, let me correct it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, our current daily FTE is 32 employees. Based on Hilliard's analysis of our cleaning processes, and actually I can let these guys speak to it a little bit more. They do an analysis that pulls into ISSA standards, which is
International Sanitary, International Sanitary.
Standardized Sanitary Association.
ISSA, they've been around for forever. If I can just step up for a second.
You can have a seat right at the table.
What ISSA has done, not just for Hilliard, but across the United States and the world, actually, is they benchmark clean times, okay, with every tool possible. How long does it take to clean this table with the tool that you currently have? How long does it take to clean that whiteboard? How long does it take to empty that trash? So they have done that work with every tool possible, And we utilize their clean times with our study and our evaluation of your buildings, which we have done to this point. We then take the clean times with the tools that you currently have, and we apply tasking to your buildings. We don't come up with that tasking. We work with your staff to come up with that tasking. In other words, we don't tell you what you need to do to clean your buildings. We have a recommendation, but what are you currently doing, or what do you feel needs to be done? So those coupled together come up with your recommended FTEs.
So in essence, Hilliard took, and working with our head custodians, they have taken what we have worked through with our medical ad hoc committee and published what we told our parents that we are doing to make sure that our buildings are safe for our staff and our students. And they have applied a number to it. Based on that number, the daily recommended FTE to clean our buildings to what we say we're going to do is 43.7 across the district. Now, we can reduce that gap from our 32 current FTEs to a proposed 43.7 FTEs by purchasing the battery operated backpacks and reducing that need from 43 down by an additional 6. And then adding a restroom cleaning machine. There's more than one at each building because these machines are awesome for going into the locker rooms, disinfecting from the top down and bringing a locker room back to life. Same thing with bathrooms, the restrooms. We actually saw a demo, it was incredible. But by adding the restroom cleaning machines, which also operates as a dual purpose for pre-treating our carpets for deep cleaning during the summer, we're getting more efficiencies other than just in restrooms. It's used across the building. Based on adding those two pieces of equipment, we can go to our total adjusted daily recommended FTE after we purchase equipment to being 35.25, which is much closer to where we need to be, where we're at. So that means that we really only need to add 2.87 FTEs to clean our buildings the way that we say we need to.
So given our current staffing, this report says we add the 2.87 and the other, but that couples with some of the other equipment and cleaning processes. Is that correct?
Right, it's on a sheet that you'll see here tonight as well, for the equipment, but yeah, you're correct.
So we buy the equipment and you only have to replace 2 people or add 2 people.
That's the assessment.
So, all right, so we're at that point now. And now you want to talk about the equipment? Or what do you want to go from there?
Well, there's 2 things that are happening here. I guess the one thing that needs to be pointed out too is that any of this, the FTE recommendations is for cleaning only. It doesn't include setups, tear downs for athletic events, prom, stuff like that. None of that is taken into this. This is just to clean our buildings. So we also have been advertising for custodians, and the next piece that's coming up is a labor recommendation. We would love to hire people. We just don't even have any applicants.
So this sheet here is this data is for informational purposes to help support kind of where we're at and help everybody understand where we're at today with our hiring. So the next piece in the board book is an example, is actually a proposal from Clean Mark for staffing. We would be able to, they could help us staff for the cost that's there in the proposal. Just because it has been a challenge to fill these positions. We think a lot of people are off on COVID, out of work, doing other things as far as unemployment. So it's been hard to paying attention to these positions. I know you guys made some progress hopefully at the last meeting. So their proposal here for this labor is $22.50 flat an hour, and we can purchase the contract. We can purchase the labor out if we like the folks by providing 3 months of the employee's wage at 22 an hour.
So this is a staffing service that you're bringing on board, or if is it the same person every day?
That would be one of our requirements. This is a pretty vague proposal. So that would be one of my requirements, is that the same people are coming and going.
How many people are you looking at hiring through this? And what type of hours?
It's mostly high school. That's where our biggest gap is at. I'm not sure if we'd want to do the entire 10 and a half vacancies. I think that would be a lot to manage. The high school itself is needing, they're down by 5. And I think the crew there is needing the help more than anybody at this point.
So are you looking to hire 5 people, 40 hours a week
Yes,
under this proposal?
at least.
How much do we pay our custodians in the high school right now per hour?
Less than that. And average, I guess it's 16.
Why the heck aren't we advertising our positions for $20 an hour and saving money? I mean, honestly, this is the sort of thing I always hate. When you contract out, you pay more per hour than the people you have working next to them that are your full-time employees. That never makes sense to me.
Well, they're not, that contract labor is not getting $22.50 an hour.
Correct.
You know, there's, you know, that contract labor is probably getting some benefits through Clean Mart and
Our people get benefits too.
If benefits.
I doubt they get benefits.
but they're probably paying these guys probably 12 to 15 bucks. an hour.
Yeah, Mark has experience.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I figured.
Our experience is that the actual people in the buildings are significantly under that number what they're taking home. Yeah. They're,
Significantly.
it depends on the area, but yeah, from anywhere from $8 to maybe $15 an hour. Depending on the area.
If you get an $8 employee, it's totally different than if you get a $15.
Yeah, which if I may say also, if you're gonna go this route, we would, whether you do or not, a district of this size, one of those FTEs that you're looking at, you may consider custodial supervisor as a part of that, not through the Clean Mark, but from somewhere else to be hands-on with the people in the buildings. I don't believe you guys have that here, and it's a super critical position that I would say is missing at Waunakee. Especially when you're bringing in, potentially bringing in outside contractors, because you really need somebody that is down and dirty with them and is keeping a solid eye district-wide what's going on.
So that would be in addition to what you were proposing though, in terms of getting people up. So it's another position to then oversee.
That's been a budget increase request the last 2 years.
So this is more of a pressure relief valve to help our current high school custodians. Like I said, I'd have to get the full update on what happened at the last hour's meeting. I think that would be helpful.
What's the time frame on this, John? I mean, I know that part of what you're hoping for is to be able to kind of use this as a stopgap, not have this as a permanent solution moving forward, but in order to get the assistance in there until we can say, know what the next meeting we're going to be talking about, or HR is going to be talking about kind of adjusting some of these salary pieces. What's the time frame that we would be committed to any folks part of this?
I would like to at least bring folks through summer. We have quite a bit of summer cleaning plans to accomplish at the high school and every other building, to be honest. Hilliard has really helped us identify best practices for our summer cleaning, and I think they really need attention ASAP throughout the summer at least, and probably into the next school year.
What is the, like, isn't that what you're getting at? What's the time that you are required to have a contract. like
30
with them.
days, 30 days.
It's got a 30-day termination notice. It's got a 1-year ban on hiring the people that did the work unless you pay Clean Mark 3 months of that $22.50 Clean Mark. in order to hire that person.
So for summer cleaning, you use students? You use them to drive tractors and stuff like that, right?
Not for indoor with not handling chemicals and stuff. We don't let our summer LTEs handle gasoline. That's all.
Steve, if I can ask a clarifying question, we have three kind of things moving here. We have the cleaning cost analysis that we showed in the previous slide that's associated with then an outlay towards equipment. And then also the supplemental staffing piece. What are we looking for tonight for guidance as we move forward with kind of those three topics? Breeze on me.
Can we go to, so you presented the first, you presented the second. Can you go to what the equipment cost is? And then does that make sense? Let's go off the subject.
Hello, Steve.
I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
Sorry, what I was just asking, Steve, can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now.
All right, super. Was trying to connect together the three items that we just talked about. One was the cleaning cost analysis.
Yep.
Showed us kind of the staffing levels that could be saved if we moved on to the equipment. Wanting to see kind of what that cost of that equipment was, and then the kind of the correlation then between those two things and the supplemental staffing that John's presented. So kind of take those three things. What direction are we looking at from the committee tonight?
So do you want to look at the next agenda item as well, which has the request including equipment,
Sure.
so that you can tie them all together?
Yep, why don't you put it all together for us?
John or Audrey, do you want to review the equipment requests and how that ties into this document as well?
Yeah, we worked really closely with Mark on these.
Sure. So I put together a list with Hilliard's recommendation. Mark has spent several days at each of our buildings evaluating equipment that is well beyond its life or not the right function for the areas that it needs to clean, or just even sizing, putting a different type of equipment that can be a multi-purpose equipment in a building and clean. For example, at intermediate school, we purchased a smaller piece of equipment that cleans our fitness center floor area as well as our kitchen area floor to the standards that we have set. So after all of this has been through, we put together and like I started a list of items that are kind of COVID-related 19 expenses. The PPE, hand sanitizer, disinfecting wipes, recognizing that some of these things may decrease as we move forward with changes in recommendations, but we have restroom cleaning machines, 6 of them for a total of $16,700. A restroom, that one has a extraction
Vacuum unit,
a
yep.
vacuum unit on it. Then there's 10 additional restroom cleaning machines that do not have the vacuum. They're a little low cost, but 10 of them comes up to 20,000. And then some sanitizer. We sanitize lunchroom tables because we don't want any chemicals on any tables that students or staff are eating on. So the sanitizer for the lunchroom and other items, chemicals that we need in order to have safe eating areas are included in there. Our disinfecting chemicals for the year. And those are obviously estimates because we've only been back in operation with full staff and students for just a couple of weeks. So I don't have a real good estimate on what we're going to be using, but that's kind of a placeholder. Then I've put, we were tasked with meeting a cap on the bottle fillers when that was approved. So we actually removed $55,000 worth of bottle fillers from different buildings to meet the cap that was placed by the Board of Education on what we were going to convert. And next on our list to convert are touchless faucets in the restrooms. And each of those buildings will need to be analyzed in detail, but this is a really good starting place for us. And, that could adjust up and down depending on, once you touch 20-some-year-old plumbing, yeah, who knows what's gonna happen. Then we get into the Hilliard machines and some of the Hoover backpacks that we're looking at getting. I've got them broke out by the buildings, so that you can see which of the equipments that we're looking at replacing. Most of them are scrubbers, is that correct?
Yes, do you want me to talk about that, or?
Sure.
Okay, we went building to building, like Audrey was saying, we looked at all of your equipment. For example, you have a propane burnishing machine in Arboretum. And Arboretum hasn't used the propane, I don't know a public school that's used one in 15 years, but you have it. Okay, so it's a piece of equipment that has almost zero use, but it's not appropriate. So what we tried to do here is we looked at your current equipment load, and the average lifespan of a carpet extractor or an auto scrubber is about 8 to 10, sometimes 12 years. You have some equipment that's over 20. And so it's expensive to run. It's time consuming. The biggest thing is the equipment that we talked about here will not just be a machine that can be used in the process that we're trying to get done, but it'll also save enormous amounts of time, a lot of time. You had some buildings that don't have very, very basic pieces of equipment. A swing machine, an orbital swing machine is the most basic cleaning tool there is other than a vacuum cleaner. And you had 3 buildings that don't have one. It was a little surprising, but this list right here will get you on track. It won't get you over the hump, but it's going to get you a long ways down the road toward having equipment that is usable and we can use in the process we put forward.
I do have to say some of the equipment on here has been recognized by our head custodian even before Mark and Bill came in. The middle school head custodian said, "Oh yeah, I wanted that one 4 years ago." So it kind of fell right into place,
Right.
what Mark was saying.
So
it's all of the equipment. Obviously, we have things that were kind of COVID related with the PPE sanitizer, some of those sanitizing pieces. Is all the equipment really aligned with what your previous presentation piece was as far as the time savings reduction?
say that
That's
again.
all in there.
That the staffing reduction part.
Yes,
this
it's all
the
has to do with
equipment,
the staffing reduction.
This is what
Yes.
makes that happen.
Exactly.
So do you have just the Hilliard equipment total up? Yeah, I can.
If you look at that equipment list down below, it's about $50,000.
And then there's,
And then if you put the 2 RR cleaning units with it, you're looking
Right.
at 86. Just to do that part.
Right.
Now, I sit there and I look at $86,000 and I go, you're gonna blow that with Clean Mark over the summer. So if we move this equipment up now, we just about put ourselves at the staffing level we say we need. If we don't wait until 2021 school year start to buy it, we buy it immediately and get it going within the next month or 2, we don't have to do the Clean Mark thing. We save all that money
What's the lead time on this?
and we move on.
the restroom cleaning machines, it's a long lead time.
What's the long lead time?
Last time we talked, I think you said 12 to 14 weeks.
No, it's longer than that now. We produce them they go into every state in the country and we cannot make them nearly quick enough. We're tooling up, we can only tool up so quickly. I would say if we got the restroom cleaning machines, we'd be lucky to get them here by October. Everything else would be within a 30-day window.
But your immediate impact is gonna be in.
The vacuums and
Vacuum.
extract.
Oh, man, yeah, absolutely.
That's gonna give you, that's gonna give you the heads up right away.
Yeah.
But if you are gonna do the restroom cleaning machines, we need to get them going. That will help
Yes,
tremendously down the road, not just in the time savings, but you do need to understand, if you walk in to clean a restroom, right now, you go in with a trigger sprayer and you spray the urinal or you spray the toilet, let it dwell. It's dwell time for the disinfectant to work, and then you come back and wipe it up, right? This restroom cleaning machine disinfects the entire restroom from here down. So it's faster, it's
Yep.
easier for the custodian, because it's not fun to clean a restroom. Now it's not so bad. So,
I tried to look that up. I mean, I was able to look up everything else, obviously.
Yeah.
The restroom cleaning, are we talking those blue sanitizer things that like Woodman's and all them are using?
No, this is
No.
completely, this is a machine that we physically make. Hilliard designed it and we make it.
Are you using hydrogen peroxide?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the products we use in there. There's so many, I mean, just the restroom cleaning alone, the time savings and the quality of product that you put out is so much better. However, like Audrey was saying, we can pre-spray for carpet cleaning. That doesn't sound like a big deal. But you are talking with all your buildings, probably 3 FTEs. In savings and time over the summer, it's incredible. It does a lot of things, kitchen cleaning, we can do a lot of things with these machines.
So with the hydrogen peroxide, basically your aerosol in this.
No, we don't aerosol. That would mean you have to breathe it in. This goes out in a, think of a low pressure, low volume power washer. So it goes out and sprays. It doesn't really get atomized in the air. That would be very bad. You know, because you'd be breathing in all that moist air. So, but
it's a, to answer your question, it's a coarse spray that doesn't atomize, so
Right,
you
I'm
don't have
sorry,
issues
yeah.
breathing it in. It's a coarse spray. You just walk around, spray the restrooms. You guys did have
We did a demo.
a demo on it, right? It's a fascinating machine. It works extremely well, and
right,
like Mark said, the cool part about it is once you get into the daily habit of using that machine to clean your restrooms, you then will not need to deep clean your restrooms all summer, which again helps you with your FTEs over the summer months, because you don't need to restorative.
yeah, there's no
restrooms.
restorative
So
cleaning.
what's the turnover time from when you spray it to when somebody can use it?
Less than 5 minutes.
So these costs is really on the equipment side of things.
Right.
Do the supplies increase in terms of using these? Is the
No.
cost of the actual supplies, the cleaning supplies?
Oh, no, I
Oh,
see
we
what
are
you're
turning
saying. Yeah, actually,
No.
to be honest with you, it's the other way around. It actually saves chemicals also. And I know that sounds goofy, but just picture this as the best example. You're gonna clean a restroom floor. You see a custodian walk in with a mop bucket, right? Mop bucket and a mop, that's 5 gallons of disinfectant that they have in there, 5 gallons of disinfectant. They go in, they mop the floor, they clean it out in the mop bucket, they mop the floor. Now, they're done with the restroom. What do they do with that 5 gallons of dirty water? Right? Do they use it in the next restroom? Do they know if they should use it in the next restroom? Are they testing to see if the
Still good?
disinfectant is still actually disinfectant or not? Because it dies after you introduce dirt to it, right? So typically, they'll do 1 or 2 restrooms with 5 gallons of water. Then they dump it out, go back to their station, refill it with 5 more gallons of disinfectant to go hit another restroom. With our cleaning machine, how much water do you think we use in a typical gang restroom?
1.5 quarts.
1.5 quarts to cover the
It's
entire area.
unbelievably good. I mean,
So-
saving.
It'll save you water, it'll save you chemicals, it'll save you time. So
It's a big deal.
it's a big deal for our company. We
Yeah.
sell thousands and thousands and thousands of them across the
Wish we
Midwest.
could make them quicker.
So to your point, you should basically approve getting this equipment in.
And kill the clean mark deal.
Until
That's what I would do.
Well,
That was my thought when I first read through all this.
The problem with that though is those numbers, correct me if I'm wrong, but those numbers are factored into your labor shortage already, right? With the equipment, the FTEs, where is that? I didn't bring that with me.
Restroom cleaning machines in the
You're
back.
telling us that using all your equipment, you need 2 more people.
It was 2.87, yeah.
So
In addition to the 7.5 that you're already
No.
short, though, right?
the initial.
well, so
study-
they need to hire.
What I heard is that we've got 32.38 people.
Right now.
And right now, and we need 40, we've approved.
7.5 positions
That
are
takes us-
open, unfilled.
That takes us up to 39 or 38. 39. And then you said with the Hilliard equipment, we get it be up to 47.
This program has identified that we need 43.7.
Without the equipment.
Correct.
Correct.
Without the equipment.
We need 35 something with the equipment. We have currently 32 something.
Right, gotcha, okay.
So if we buy the equipment, we're 3 people short.
And it makes sense for us to buy the equipment now.
And move on it now, so by summer, we're working under that number with that equipment. We're not dropping tens of $1,000s a month to Clean Mark. We don't need to.
Well, we
Use the
need
money
to,
on our own people.
we need to get 2 employees.
Well, 2.87 at some point.
So we need at least 3 employees.
Plus the 7.5
Plus the 7, that's
open
what I'm-
positions.
Plus the 7.5?
That's where I was.
We are,
Forward.
we have 7.5 job openings right now that we have no applicants for.
But what?
But we
Again,
don't
I
need
thought-
to hire 7.5.
Steve, can you go back to the staffing sheet, please?
Yeah, I've got it up.
Yep, thank you.
Do you see it?
Yep, can you blow it up a little larger?
Yep.
All right, so
Okay, my understanding, daily recommended FTE without equipment is 43.7. That's what we need if we don't buy anything, we just keep going as we are. If we buy the equipment, the daily adjusted FTE says we need 35.25. That's with buying the equipment. We currently have 32 people. We only need to hire 2.5 more.
Additional personnel over our current staffing level. However, out of our current staffing level of 32, we have 7.5.
So we only
Full-time.
have 25 people right now,
Correct.
Right.
not 30.
Correct.
that's the message.
You're saying we had 32. You're saying we have positions for 32 people, which only 25 are filled.
And Dave, if I could just jump in for a minute, it's important to know that Brian Gerbarski is going to be proposing changes to the custodial pay structure at the HR committee meeting that's taking place this week. He's doing that because of the unfilled positions and our attempt to increase the starting wage. The goal is still to be able to hire our own staff, but we feel that we have to change the salary schedule that's there beyond a simple 2% across the board increase and recommend targeted increases in the custodial area to help attract candidates to close that gap. So we aren't looking at the Clean Mark agreement through the lens of a permanent long-term solution. We're looking at Brian having the opportunity to work with the HR committee on adjustments to our pay schedule to be able to bring in candidates. So as board members, you don't have the opportunity right now to see what Brian is going to be proposing this week, but you will be able to see that next Monday night if the HR committee moves those recommendations forward to the board meeting.
Steve,
So the challenge is that you're looking at this without seeing what Brian is also going to be proposing for changes to our own salary structure. But really the confusing thing about the document you have in front of you is really the 7.5 positions that are currently funded in the district's budget, but we have not been able to fill them. The 2.87 would be the positions that are not funded in the district's budget, but that doesn't even really matter at this point because we can't even hire the 7.5 positions that we currently have the funds for. So in the cleaning cost analysis, as you look at what would be administration's request of this committee, the major request would be to move forward with the equipment. The second request would be to have Brian's proposal for targeted pay increases moving forward for the board's consideration next Monday. And then the third request would be to make sure that at a minimum, while we're transitioning towards being able to hire folks ourselves, we can get 7 to 10 folks in, at least on a temporary basis, to be able to do the cleaning that we need. So if we were to bring in, let's say 7.5 people from CleanMark, those funds are already in our budget. They're just not being spent because we haven't been able to hire the staff.
Steve,
So that's really, go ahead.
Steve, what is our starting wage for custodians right now?
So we've had it's a little over $15 an hour. We had a situation where when we brought in our consultant several years ago on hourly pay increases, the starting pay for custodians was frozen. It was actually frozen for several years, and it changed over time from a position of strength in our district to really a position of weakness, where we're now behind our peers with where we need to be with starting pay. So we're a little bit above 15 at this point, but Brian is going to be recommending that we boost that so that we are more attractive for those that are looking to consider these positions in the future.
So where is he going to boost that to? $17, $20?
I don't know if I don't believe he's finished his proposal on that. Unless he's shown it to you, Randy. I have not seen it yet.
I mean, I know he was looking at whatever the percentage was, and then there were different groups. He had a $1 increase, and I'm not sure where he was with custodians.
So basically, he's probably going to be around the $17 range. And what are the benefits on $17? Yeah, that's probably another $2-3, right?
It could be higher. Basically, if someone selects our family benefit plan, it's going to be higher than the $22.50. If someone selects our single benefit plan or no insurance, it's going to be lower. So it's entirely dependent on what benefit plan an individual would select.
So probably on average, it's probably going to be about $20. By the time you have benefits and everything else that we go in. So we're paying these guys probably $2.50 more an hour, and we got people now. So it makes sense for us to, from a short-term stopgap, get some people in here. They're already budgeted, so we're taking it out of the existing budget. And can we put some of this towards the COVID expense as well? So I make the recommendation that we go ahead with the CleanMark and the equipment.
I'd like to break those up separately. If you don't mind. Okay, so let's just talk about the equipment. All right, I assume you're fine with making a motion to go ahead with the equipment immediately.
I'm fine with it.
Equipment? Yeah. I would.
And okay, so I don't think there's much more discussion. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Okay, so our recommendation.
So we don't have a motion, motion to purchase the equipment
To purchase the equipment as soon as possible.
as soon as possible.
That's our recommendation to the board.
And I second.
Good? Sorry.
I seconded it.
And there's a second. And all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? So it passes unanimously. The second part is about CleanMark. So do you want to make a motion?
Do you see any like issues, like conflicts between regular and then now you have a service coming in and working with them? Would you separate them in different buildings? Is there some kind of conflict that would come up with that?
The high school is where we need the help. Intermediate school is short 2 positions right now as well. I could see potential disruption or the way other custodians may view this. It'll cause rumors, and I would have to.
Has this been discussed with the WTA or any of them? on any level.
WTA is just the teachers. Have you talked about it with custodians or head custodians?
I thought all this,
Just the teachers.
the non-classified is not, the paras are part of the teacher.
None of them are.
So none of them are in any way with the WTA. Okay. So has it been discussed with the custodial staff at all?
They fear this because they think they're gonna be replaced, but they don't understand that the numbers you see here is we need 10 people. We're not gonna fire 5 people to get 10 of these people, in my eyes, so.
You know, it's always better to have your own people in-house. You have better control. You can train them. It's just better. My big fear is, and I've seen this in other school districts before, you are down 5 custodians in the high school. Right now, those custodians are like overwhelmed, they're frustrated, they're unhappy. And they're looking out there thinking, what can I do to make more money? And there's a lot of jobs out there right now that can be making more money. So I mean, anything we can do to help them right now and relieve some of this frustration is probably going to go a lot farther than the 10 you need right now.
I totally agree with that because, you know, people leave, you know, for reasons. They're frustrated, you're overworked, or underappreciated, you know, whatever. Once they make that decision to go, you're not gonna get them back.
No.
They're unhappy, so it's
You
the,
know, and what you're gonna have to do is talk to these people
Yeah.
and tell them
Yeah.
that, you know, we've had these open, I don't know how long we've had these open positions, 6 months, 7 months.
We haven't been fully staffed in 2 years.
So basically what you've got to do is do damage control. We're looking at increasing our wages, right?
I'm gonna get them some help.
You're gonna get them some help,
Correct, not replace.
short-term help. So that we can move forward. So I would propose or make the motion to hire up to 9 people through this clean tech. Group.
Is there a second?
That's really going on a monthly basis. And kind of,
You want to put
It's
a
a-
time frame to it? Yeah. 'Cause that might be helpful with the conversation.
Yeah, let's let's do 6 months. You know, because it's going to take you, it's going to take the committee going through the board. It's going to take probably 2 to 3 months to get all this stuff approved. Right?
I would ask for a revised proposal from the company as well to throw in some of the requirements that I'm looking for. They have to be the same person in and out as much as to the extent they can provide. You need English speaking folks because again, without a custodial supervisor, without a bilingual person on staff or custodial supervisor, they have to be able to speak our language and talk to management and building personnel. So this has to be reworked.
It could also be somewhere where as we hire people, this reduces.
Roll them off.
right, exactly.
Okay, so
And I think the other thing, you're going to have these on night shifts, right?
Primarily, yes.
So your full-time employees will stay on day.
Say it again.
Your full-time employees stay on day, maybe there's one supervisor or one.
The custodians would stay on day, and then we have additional that come in to help with lunch, 1 or 2 at the high school. And then they're primarily night folks.
so just to clarify, the motion is to approve an agreement with Clean Mark. And it would be for 6 months.
Up to 9
Up to 9
people. 6 months. We will be there. Because if we don't get, you know, people coming in, even after we give you a salary increase, you know, we gotta revisit this.
Did you second that?
Yeah, I was just looking, I mean, the 6 months, but if Brian comes back and it makes it really attractive and we find I don't know the likelihood of that happening, but then I don't know the ability.
But
to
as we
adjust it.
hire staff, we would reduce the number of people we bring in.
Correct.
That's what I was thinking.
Another thing that would be nice is if you find someone from Clean Mark who's really a great custodian, you can cherry pick.
All right, so we
I
have a
second
motion and a second. I'm gonna vote against this motion because I think it sends a bad message to our current employees. It hasn't been worked out with them. I don't, you don't tell them after the fact and then say, oh yeah, but we're doing a good thing for you. I think you talk with them ahead of time. Now, we do have a couple months before the board approves it. And I'm gonna talk to some people and see what I can do, but I know in my union, when we have labor shortages, I'm in a union with electrical work. We generally have better pay and benefits than the non-union. We target the non-union employers and their employees, and we go to them directly and we start hiring. Because they're licensed, they're out there working, you know who they're working for, and you start sending them postcards and you start making phone calls. And in my mind, that seems a better way to go than, I'd rather put the money into a marketing thing where we go out and target people already working in this area. And I'd be happy to help you and show you how we do it, rather than bringing in a place like Clean Mark where they're paying them $8 to $12 an hour, yet the company's taking more money than our own people get paid per hour. I just think that sends a horrible message. And I think it will create issues with the full-time staff working around all of that. That's not to say I don't understand the need and everything, but I don't think this has been worked out enough to make sure we don't have a bigger problem than the one we already have. That's just a personal feeling based on what I've seen in labor when you start doing that with a set employee group and bringing in people from the outside.
Well, when you talk about targeting people, from that are working in the custodial, the reason that they're leaving is because they're probably getting better pay.
Exactly what happened. It just was at intermediate. And that's what happened with two of our custodians there. They left for better pay, one at a competing district. The other one went to the city.
Village of
Village.
Windsor.
Yeah, so I don't think we can do this massive marketing campaign, bring people in who are currently working in the.
I think if you're talking people at Clean Mark who are making $8 an hour or $12 an hour, I think, yeah, that's your target. But it's, I
Well,
think
$8
the
an hour-
relations is. more
I
important.
know the difference between $8 an hour employee and $15. You get what you pay for. I ran a company where, the owner wanted to pay $7.75 because that was minimum wage. So, this has got to be a stopgap. And we got to get the people in here that are reliable. And I think if you talk to your people, they probably understand. They probably understand what you've gone through to try to get. I'm hoping they understand what you've gone through to try to get people here.
They continually ask me that this potential stopgap.
What we can do is, why don't you, me, Steve, and Brian talk, we'll have a communications piece to come over to work with the staff so they understand what's being done here, why that conversation's taking place.
I agree. To Dave's point, I agree that I'm not purposely leaving folks out. I want to make sure the board and you, Randy, understand the potential plan before I stir up my staff group.
Any further discussion on this? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. No. So that'll go to the board at the next meeting. So that should have taken care of the cleaning cost analysis, Clean Mark, and operational referendum, although there's other items in that spreadsheet that we have not directly discussed.
For information purposes, I included some of the documentation from North American Mechanical regarding humidity in our air handling systems at the school buildings.
What, just Is there anything else on that spreadsheet other than the equipment? Because that was the only thing we discussed. Most of the rest of it is supplies. So we're just saying that's what you're forecasting for next year.
This is health and cleaning and COVID related equipment supplies.
Okay, so I
So-
guess.
Many
Unless
of these,
there's,
Steve, are you looking for a motion on these? Because many of these, we don't, they're not within the dollar amounts or the program wise that we would need that, but what are you looking for here, Steve?
We were just presenting this as expenditures that we are planning to allocate towards the operational referendum funds in the second draft of the budget, not really needing any action other than the equipment tonight, just seeing if there's any feedback that any committee members have besides the equipment agenda items. Otherwise, we will continue moving forward with these items and assign them towards the operational referendum funds when we work on the second draft of the budget next month.
I would actually rethink the touchless faucets going forward, you know, as we come out of this COVID. You know, hopefully, you know, we don't have those problems. You know, when you're looking at 200,000, does that cover the entire district?
Correct.
It seems like a lot of money.
Do a lot of faucets.
Increase maintenance. I would rethink the touchless faucets.
so that's more of an informational piece. You don't need a motion on any of those.
So we got what we need.
No,
Okay, humidification then.
Just in response to a member's questions about humidification, our air handling systems at our schools. We provide a brochure on indoor air quality and which components of indoor air quality can help mitigate viruses or to help increase cleanliness of air in buildings, and humidification is one of those components. I have a really high level ballpark figure on the cost that it would take to do this, and it's very expensive. To add humidity control to one air handler is between $35,000 and $50,000 is the quote. We have 17 air handlers at the high school alone that could stand this retrofit.
This is something that goes on every single air handler, right, as part of this system.
How much is it improved that you're already doing the ionization?
Can you scroll to the second page, please, Dave? Whoever's driving.
Oh, I'm
You're
not,
not
this is
driving?
mine.
Okay,
Steve's driving. Where do you
thanks,
want-
Steve. So a little bit more, you can see, I do believe number 4 is humidification on that matrix. You scroll a tad more. Thank you. The cost is, you know, it's not even really that high of a cost factor, but it's a complex item to add. Humidification, again, is the number 4 blue dot. And it can be done, but it's not cheap.
Basically, April airing all of those systems,
Exactly.
which requires usually significant plumbing because you don't always have the water drain sitting there to do it.
Plumbing and electrical are the costs. So as you can see also on the list, they've added, I'm trying to find it. Oh, number 7, thank you, your point, bipolar ionization. So not as complex, but it is also costly, which we've already completed that. So
So you've completed number 7.
yes.
Was there, I believe this was your question, Jeff?
Yeah.
Was there something specific you were looking at?
Well, you know, one of the things with, you know, there's some buildings that probably wouldn't need it, like Heritage, because you can't dry carpets.
This would not be the right place for it.
Right,
Correct.
but when you look at improving the health of the building, it improves the health of the building.
The proper relative humidity can, you know, we don't want to also say, let's put everything on this list into our buildings. For example, number 6, ultraviolet. We don't need that. We have ionization.
Right.
So although controlling relative humidity is important, it's not the end of.
This in conjunction with control. You know, because really when you get humid air, viruses and things don't, you know, aerosols don't travel as quickly. You know, when you sit down, you take a look at, we don't have enough subs. You know, anything that we could potentially do to, you know, improve the health of the building for the people inside. You know, would be a benefit, but obviously you gotta look at cost benefit analysis. On this. But can we prevent, you know, flu from spreading through our buildings? You know, things like that.
Sure. And this was just initial research in regards to the question posed.
So like high level, you said there were 17 air handlers at the high school. So that puts us at about, you said 35 grand, sorry.
I think that's about
So that's about
850,000.
just under 600,000 to be the high school. And does that, we have different systems. You're right, Jack, about heritage with kind of some of the noon events, et cetera. That's a little different than obviously intermediate school has the integrates all those different systems.
Right, we have to obviously go to each building and have that analyzed.
I guess part of the question.
What I'd like to do is just understand what the overall cost would be, you know, of this. And then I think what we gotta do is look at it broader than just this is our cost. You know, what's it gonna do for us? You know, because if we can minimize, or, you know, if we can reduce illness in our buildings, because from a humidity standpoint, we're not aerosoling this and it's not going all over the place as quickly. You know, it's not only our staff, but it's also our students.
Are we seeing any areas or buildings that are having any moisture issues over something else other than heritage? Which I can, having done electrical work in that basement, I can already tell you. But are we seeing it? Usually, if you have a humidity problem, you're gonna see it in your windows. You're gonna see it in your windows first. You're gonna see it in the carpeting. You're gonna see it in the ceiling tiles. Is gonna be the most common stuff. Are we seeing that in practically any building other than heritage?
After heritage, maybe a tad at the middle school, but we know about the window situation near the stairwells at the middle school. So other than that, I don't have measurements of relative humidity in each building. We control it in our gyms and field houses. So floors stay proper, but I don't see any.
I know at Epic, we did a large project of using their underground vault areas for getting too much humidity. And rather than, they tried dehumidifiers, it didn't do a thing. The biggest thing was airflow. Totally wiped it out, even underground, just by increasing the CFM and your ventilation movement.
Because
that's
we-
usually the biggest thing you can do to help in air quality.
Because we do, number one, maintenance, and number two, increased ventilation rates and filter efficiency already. We do, you know, employ a lot of the things on the list already anyway, so.
So I'd just like, you know, to do a little bit more investigation.
What would it take to get the humidity rates in various buildings?
Don't know.
To have some, I know some equipment can have the sensing rating for it in your thermostat systems. I doubt we have.
They may have, I'll have to see what sensors they have now.
Just ask,
They may have
I would
ours.
assume asking NAMI, what would it take to get those humidity rates? Are we having dead zones in buildings that are causing that? Things like that might be a fairly inexpensive way to figure out if there is an issue.
Here's a start.
Thank you. Anything else?
Future meetings? And I guess then I take a motion to adjourn. Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed stay on Zoom. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks. Have a good night.
You're released from your Zoom.